A multiverse means multiple theories. The more universes, the more possibilities. The Binger is here to cover them all for you. Buckle up, because it's time to get into all the best Marvel multiverse theories. We get it. Some of you missed the memo or were absent during the multiverse lectures in your high school physics class. With that in mind, we want to go over some of the basic concepts of a multiverse. That way, everyone here is on the same page. The term is exactly what it sounds like. It's the idea that multiple universes exist similar to our own. These other universes are commonly referred to as parallel universes. Each universe is unfolding at the same time as ours with distinct differences. Sometimes the changes are huge, but other times they're barely noticeable. One of the scientists to popularize the theory was Erwin Schrödinger. You've likely heard about his famous cat, but that's tied into multiverse theory. At the moment, the evidence of any parallel universes is thin. However, we're not here to talk about our reality. Science fiction is more than familiar with the theory. If you've seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, then you're already familiar with the concept in comic book movies. However, no two multiverses are alike. Since the laws around their science is murky, the creators of these fictional parallel universes need to come up with their own rules. It's complicated, but we want to trim it down to the bare minimum we need to know. Okay, all of you who already get multiverses can tune back in. We're moving away from the day-to-day science and into the big topic. The MCU is teasing us with the possibility of a broadening horizon. We're excited to get into the theories it offers, but we need to cover a little more groundwork. See, Marvel will have its own rules for the multiverse. Let's make those clear. For instance, as far as we know, there's a multiverse formed from the Time Heist. However, that doesn't mean that other quantum universes/parallel universes didn't exist prior to that moment in 2023. Poking through the quantum realm probably opened up gateways to other universes. Fans are also assuming that the rules line up with the comic book version of the multiverse. This idea means that the Earth we see is numbered 616. Keep that in mind. If you hear that number continue to pop up in the upcoming films, then everything is headed toward that direction. We'd expect the rules to fall in line then, and then some of the other universes in the comic books will begin to crop up. Finally, before we get into the theories, we want to talk about one more rule established in Endgame. Be warned, this is the biggest spoiler in the video. Everyone is confused by old Steve Rogers appearing in the current timeline. The prospects don't make sense. However, the filmmakers explained in a later interview that Captain America messed up the timeline by staying in the past. He created a new universe. We'll get more into the theories around that later, but it gave us a new rule. Clearly, people can travel to different parallel universes, otherwise Rogers couldn't drop the shield off to Sam on Earth 616. That rule alone opens up a lot of other theories we think might be true. So enough talk, it's time to dive into all these amazing theories. When New York was under attack, where was the Fantastic Four? When Ultron threatened to eradicate human life, where were the X-Men? These questions are daunting for a studio that wasn't able to gain the rights to those characters for years. Now, the two teams are back at Marvel. The writers are being tasked with explaining away these challenging questions. Lucky for them, the multiverse might now exist. For all we know, the Fantastic Four and the X-Men did help save New York City and stop Ultron. The only difference is they did it on a different Earth. Earths where these characters are the main heroes and the Avengers are not the end-all be-all of superhero stardom. However, the question becomes if they'll find a way to cross over. Let's make a case for the four space travelers turned powerful superhero group. Reed Richards is a brilliant mind. When you go through the decades of comic books made about the Fantastic Four, you'll find tons of examples of him messing with the quantum realm. It's super possible he detects the time heist and traces the power back to Earth 616. Some extra plot points will need to unite them with that universe and keep them there. However, it's easy to see them discovering a way into the shared universe. Similarly, the X-Men are famous time travelers. Seriously, these characters travel through time like we commute to work. It's second nature. Many fans foresee an apocalypse. No, not the character, like an event forcing the mutants to switch universes. Honestly, this theory is too perfect. It really makes sense when you think about it. Speaking of X-Men, there is a special team of mutants who focus on fixing mistakes in the timeline. That's right, we're talking about the Exiles. Many people believe we're about to get a television series or a standalone film featuring this team, so let's go over the nitty-gritty about how it might happen. So remember how we talked about Captain America staying back in the past? It caused a rift in the timeline and split the universes. Well, we're assuming that, but it seems pretty certain. However, every action has consequences. There are comics out there that feature Peggy Carter and Steve Rogers teaming up with the Exiles. No one is pulling this out of thin air. the team would help introduce this new team to audiences without shocking them with totally new faces. Besides, if the Exiles truly focus on protecting timelines, then they won't be happy about a lone time traveler messing up his timeline by staying in the past. It's possible that the Exiles will confront Steve Rogers and tell him he needs to go back to his own time. However, over the course of the discussion, the team will understand his reason for staying. Somehow, an alliance will be formed between the team and Captain America. If we're lucky, we'll get to see them go on a mission together. Getting the Exiles explains how Steve makes it back to Earth 616. They travel the timeline with ease. Perhaps Rogers helps them out on a time mishap, and they do him a favor and let him speak to Sam Wilson. We don't want to assume too much, but he needs someone around to take him back to the main timeline. Why not the Exiles? Alright, we're all asking it, so let's talk about it. What the heck is Nick Fury in charge of now? Mac is now the head of S.H.I.E.L.D., so Fury needs some kind of justification for running around the world stopping bad guys. We'd be willing to bet that S.H.I.E.L.D. developed both sword and armor in the years following the Winter Soldier. We haven't seen the organization do much in Phase 4, and there's a good reason for that. S.H.I.E.L.D. is on shaky ground. The justification for their usefulness was on thin ice. So, Fury saw this fallout and responded by organizing sub-organizations capable of responding to new potential threats. We won't talk much about SWORD, but just know that it connects to galactic threats. Instead, we want to justify the existence of armor. Notice how Fury responds to the snappening. He tells Hill to send out a code red. Clearly, he's in charge of an organization worried about space portals and galactic threats. He's shown in the Far From Home trailer worrying about the timeline issues. It seems super possible that armor is responding to the multiverse problems created by the quantum realm travel, and that's why Fury is such a prominent role. Armor will be the exposition machine for this new phase like S.H.I.E.L.D. was for the first phase of the MCU. You're tearing us apart, Loki! Sorry, we couldn't help but make a reference to The Room. It was right there for the taking. Anyway, this uncovered theory revolves around Loki's escape. First off, never make Hulk take the stairs again. Bad things tend to happen. In this case, his rude door-slamming entrance helped Loki escape from capture. Now the God of Mischief has his hands on the Tesseract. With that power, Loki can now travel through space and bend it to his will. Most fans of the Prince of Asgard know he will abuse this privilege. This is Loki we're talking about, and he's going to get his own show. Darting around the universe getting into trouble across time is gonna come at a price. With that in mind, perhaps it's not the time heist that opened up all these multiverses, it was probably Loki who did it, because he's carelessly dredging around the cosmos with the Space Stone. Guess who's back? Back again. Ultron's back. You tell a friend because he is likely going to try to blow up the planet again. Yes, with multiple universes, you get multiple villains. Many viewers and comic book movie theorizers believe the studio is going to give us a redo. Imagine a Killmonger who didn't lose to Black Panther, or a real Mandarin that isn't simply an actor. There's a chance we might see them in upcoming films. The Quantum Universe offers chances for our favorite villains to get a second chance at victory. If Captain America can travel through multiverses, then so can previous villains. It seems super plausible that at least one iconic villain is going to make their way back into the fold. Honestly, this theory is less of a possibility and more of a foregone conclusion. It's only a matter of time. We wish there was more to say about this, but the truth is the outcomes are infinite. Any one of the defeated antagonists could find their way back into Earth 616. Let us know which one you think is the likeliest in the comments down below. Oh man, things are about to get messy. Let's try to break this down as best we can. Honestly, fans will think that this one comes out of left field. They're not wrong, it's a theory that's so good, it has to be true. However, the evidence is thin. Take a look at the Far From Home trailer. Notice that we end up seeing 3 different Spider-Man outfits. 2 of them are familiar with audiences, but one of them is unique. You know the one we're referring to. It's the all-black outfit. The odd part is the costume looks a little simple. Some people believe that Fury and his team make the suit for Peter Parker. However, a different theory states that it's actually an entirely different Spider-Man. He's from the universe that Mysterio is from and helps uncover the lie being presented to our Peter Parker. All we have is a multiverse and a different suit. However, the prospect offers up an interesting foil to our main character. After all, that suit is definitely not made by Tony Stark. What if that Spider-Man is never tied to Stark and becomes a hero on his own accord? It challenges our main character's belief and forces him to grow. Sure, we don't have much evidence, but the theory fits with the themes presented to us. Heck, if we're lucky, this Spider-Man may even turn out to be Miles Morales. Again, no one can provide evidence of this one being confirmed, but that's why it's a theory. Fingers crossed it comes to fruition. We all miss Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Of all the actors to play a superhero over the years, no one fit their role quite like him. Well, some people believe a comeback may be in play. We've already seen Old Man Logan appear in a 20th Century Fox movie, but that doesn't mean we can't get another look. Logan is a compelling character that falls into a similar vein as Old Man Steve Rogers. The two are seen as sage advisors to the young guns parading around the world. They aren't there to save the day every time. We're probably getting Old Man Rogers, so why not Logan too? After all, he originated from a multiverse comic. He eventually travels to Earth 616 in certain variations. He can act as a Charles Xavier-like leader to the Marvel X-Men, so we don't see the same old team we always do. Again, the evidence isn't quite there yet, but we're holding out for this excellent theory. Sadly, we're going to conclude these theories with a bit of a downer. We're sure you've heard a little bit about this theory already, so we'll go over it a bit quickly. After all, this one centers around Mysterio. For those not familiar with the character, Quentin Beck tends to be a powerless, washed-up actor. He lies and tricks Spider-Man all the time. It's sort of his gimmick. All of our multiverse theories rely on a rift being open. However, the person who told us a rift is open is a known liar. It's totally possible there's no gateway to the other multiverse. The main Earth is the only one with the tech to move between timelines. Mysterio is simply capitalizing on a fear of multiverses. He is tricking everyone, and the lie will be uncovered at the end of the movie. We hope it's not the case, but it's certainly possible. Do you have any good multiverse theories that we didn't mention? Let us know what theories you have in the comments down below. Be sure to follow The Binger and subscribe for all the latest content. You don't want to miss out on more breakdowns and countdowns.